Hello and welcome to this morning's webinar, A Social Odyssey. What a great name as well. Talking about what's happening next in social media, in particular 2021. And boy, do we have some incredible guests on today. Both have accumulated hundreds of thousands of followers and millions of views on their channels. They've been there and done it, and they're still doing it to this day. And before I introduce them, let me introduce myself. This should work. There we are. That's a terrible picture. It does look like, doesn't it? Very smart there in the office. In the days where we used to be able to work in an office. They were the days, weren't they? So I'm Adam Barry, your host for today. I'm also the co-founder and creative director at Electric House. For anyone who doesn't know what Electric House is, we are a social media publishing group. So we create, produce, distribute and amplify video content through all our social media communities. So we own and operate the On the Tools community and the On a Budget UK-based community and all the groups that fit within them. A little bit of a humble brag. Yes, that's right. Last year, our On the Tools community was consistently watched by more UK males than anyone on the list you can see. That's on Facebook, which is very impressive, but close to becoming painfully out of date as well. 2019 stats. We're nearly in 2021. We need something else to shout about now, I think. But that's pretty impressive. Okay, let's get into the amazing speakers, incredible speakers we've got on today. Although I am speaking, I'm not so incredible. I'm actually only here by default, as you can tell by the slide. I'm filling in for someone. So our head of social publishing, Abby Swindle, was meant to be speaking today, but unfortunately she's not very well. So instead of a young, ambitious, award-winning social media expert, you've got me, an old, fat, pale, tragic excuse of a social expert. But it is what it is. So there we are. We've also got Leah Shutkever. Leah is Europe's #1 female competitive eater. And this still amazes me now. 21-time Guinness World Record title holder. And today she's going to be talking all things food, trends, culture, and much more. And last on the list, but not least, we have Max Tobin. So Max works at Electric House as a can't even say the word, as a social media coordinator, which is a fancy way of saying he's a 23-year-old man that makes TikToks all day, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's pretty standard thing in social media now. Max did actually send me another intro, which I'm going to read out to you. He wrote this himself, and I quote, "Max Tobin is a balls to the wall, blink if you miss it, through a ride of a man. A modern autodidact and a beast that will kick you in the head." Not sure what that means. "To know him is to love him, and to love him is to make love to him." So thanks, Max, for that. You'll be hearing more from Max at the end of the webinar. He probably will live up to that statement, to be fair. Any questions? So if you do have any questions, feel free to get those in throughout the presentation. You do that. I think there's a little Q&A section at the bottom there that you can click on the screen, and we'll answer those at the end of the session. So if you want to just keep firing those in, I'll make a note of those, and then we'll come back to it at the end of the session. It's due to last around an hour, so should finish at 10:30. So I've got a few things I'm going to touch on before I pass it over to Leah and Max. A few things that I think are going to be big in social. And actually, they probably already are quite big in social. So social commerce for me it's gaining pace. You know, obviously it's not new. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And I think 2021 is going to be the biggest year for social commerce across all social media platforms. And you can already see this from how much the big platforms have been pushing their shop functions and updates over the past few months. And we've seen social platforms teaming up with e-commerce platforms. And the one that stands out to me has been TikTok recently. You know, they're making big strides in that area to try and catch up to their rivals. You know, if you think about Facebook have already done the blueprint for them, really. And you're starting to see TikTok get there a little bit quicker. You know, they're looking at introducing 3-minute content, and now they're introducing different ways for creators to be able to sell their products and eventually once they've made sure the creators are happy, the ones that are bringing the content to the platform, they'll roll that out for brands and businesses alike. So the first one I wanted to touch on was earlier this year, they announced a partnership with Teespring, which was pretty big news for the creators. So it allowed creators to list and sell merch directly through TikTok without being directed anywhere else. So this feature is, I think it's still being tested with a small number of creators, but if it's successful, it'll be rolled out to brands globally. So brands will be able to sell their products directly through the app. And they've also teamed up with Shopify this year as well. So this deal, I think the aim of it is to make it easier for Shopify's like 1 million plus merchants to reach TikTok's audience and drive sales. So it will eventually expand into like other areas, in-app shopping features. But as far as we know, it's only available for merchants in the US. But if it works, it'll no doubt be rolled out globally. And this is great news for small businesses too, considering how many like organic eyeballs content still gets on TikTok now. If I was you, as soon as this is available, I'd make the most of it, because the organic reach won't last forever. You know, we know that. We just look back at the Facebook and Instagram. I said the Facebook, then no. Look back at Facebook and Instagram. They always give you lots, and then they just slowly start taking it away. And TikTok will be no different. Once they've got that user base at a comfortable size, they'll just start taking it away from you. I think it's already probably started now on smaller levels. So when you do get it, just make sure you make the most of it. The next thing I wanted to talk about was lives. Again, nothing new here, but this is something that I know is going to be pushed heavily by the platforms in 2021. They're bringing out new updates and features constantly. And I'm going to run you through a couple of things as to why I think you should be getting on there, and why I think it's going to be big in 2021. So I think the pandemic helped, didn't it? It's created a space for users to engage with brands and creators in real time, and live is, like I said, by no means a new tool, but we'll probably see some minor changes in 2021, but it is still it's still going to be used probably as much as it has been in 2020, because you know things aren't going to disappear when we reach January the 1st, are they? So we're still going to be in lockdowns. People are still going to be utilizing lives, so it's still a very, very important tool for the users as well as it is for the platforms. And you can tell by the way that Facebook are, I guess, positioning the live functions within the app, that it's something that they really want to work. And you know, if Mark Zuckerberg wants something, he kind of usually gets it. So the way that they position these on the buttons, you can see there, like top left, you've got on your home screen, you can go live from your personal profile. You go into watch, which is something else that Facebook are really pushing. It's top left on the screen there. And then they've got a separate feed in watch for lives. And what this means is they're trying to get higher distribution of online videos. So, you know, when Facebook are pushing something, that it's probably makes sense to get behind it, because you're going to see those like increased levels of reach and distribution through there. So live features, I would definitely be looking at doing more live features in 2021. We actually do like 2 live shows every week on the tools community, and we're looking at doing more on a budget, because we know that the the stats at the minute are just through the roof, because Facebook want them to work, and the reason they're bringing out more features, they want to make it easier for people to go live and to interact with their audience. So next on, a couple of things to look out for would be gamification on lives, and then, you know, being able to actually purchase through live. So again, for businesses, being able to purchase through live is something that we've been wanting for like the last 5 years, pretty much since we set up our e-commerce side of the business. So more gamification options to avoid engagement bait when running competitions on live. So anyone who's created live video on Facebook will know it's quite difficult to get users to engage in the comments without crossing over those mysterious community standard guidelines, and getting in trouble for engagement bait. So we think that Facebook are going to start offering more options to engage with your audience without breaking the rules. So they'll be like in-app activities. And the next one is, like I said, it's being able to purchase. Now, I know certain brands have been able to do it through desktop, but considering that, you know, 90+% people actually use Facebook live through their phones. It's not great to just do it on desktop. This will be a game changer for a lot of brands, and especially small businesses, because they're pushing live so much. You're going to get much better distribution and more reach your followers, in turn more products to sell. So I always say, like, think about it as a QVC on steroids. But that will be a game changer. And again, these things, like, you can go live on a limited amount of money. I mean, we've got quite a big setup in house now, where we've got some, flashy cameras and the technology and stuff, but we literally started it on a phone. That is how we done our first live. We didn't even have any mics. It was just a phone, someone standing in front of a presenter, and we went live. So I would start getting ready for that, because as soon as that's available, that in-app purchase, and I genuinely think that's going to be in 2021, I would already have your content strategy, your creatives done for your lives, and a good understanding of what products you're going to be selling through there. So I'd get ready for that. Apologies if that was a little bit rushed, but like I say, I was on 24 hours notice to fill in, and I've done my best, but there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to hand over to the amazing Leah Shutkever. Can't hear you, Leah, if you're talking. Are you there?
Oh, hi.
Oh, there you go.
Hi,
Yeah.
I've lost. Okay, so we do have control. Hello, everyone. So my name is Leah Shutkever, and I, as you can see, am a UK competitive eater and Europe's #1 female competitive eater. I do the presenting on the Pro Eater versus Builder on the Tools TV, and it has been some great fun on set doing those. I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about YouTube in 2020, and generally speaking, my experience of social media in food and culture, and how food and culture has been so prevalent in the last sort of year or so, and I guess even longer. So YouTube 2020, creators adapting to the new normal. So everybody's talking about the new normal. What is it? It basically means our lives have all adapted to, I guess, the social norms, the new rules, the things around the COVID-19 restrictions, and we're just trying to make it work for ourselves. Now, with the restrictions, being a creator, it's had to force us to kind of think fast, work fast, and adapt fast, so that we can maintain, I guess, where we are in our own space on social media. Food content. So why does food related content thrive? Why does it thrive? Why is everyone so obsessed with food? Well, in short, everybody eats, so everyone can relate to it. It means that it's relatable content, something that we can all sort of appreciate on a level. People feel like they can eat vicariously through a channel. What I mean by this is, if you are not able to eat really spicy food just because you're not able to do it, watching somebody else do it kind of satisfies that want to do it. Family-friendly lockdown entertainment. Now, this has been such a huge eye-opener over the last year, is that I didn't realize how many families sit down and watch my content together. So it has been a huge learning curve to know that from 6 years old all the way to 60 years old, I've got such a wide range of ages watching my channel, and it's kind of forced me to evaluate my content and seeing, why does that work for families and how can I make it more appropriate? It's therapeutic. So I don't know if you guys know about ASMR, but ASMR is a sensation that some people feel from hearing eating noises like crunching and slurping, and it makes some people feel a sense of euphoria. So it's therapeutic in the respect that some people do get great satisfaction from watching other people eat, more than just the visual, but also a sensory, it's a motor sensory feeling that people do experience. Restaurant industry adapting and diversifying. What I've noticed is that street food is on the up, and now takeaways have just thrived through lockdown. So restaurants have just provided DIY kits, make at home, and just made it super like lockdown friendly, cook at home opportunities. And I just think that that is obviously fantastic. You can eat well for less. You absolutely can. And I think that more people are eating at home, buying their food, and noticing that things are available and you can do it yourself, and you can eat well yourself, and you can do it really well at home. So I think that's also a beautiful thing. Eating is the new social and the new antisocial. So eating has always been like a social activity. It's always been something that people do with other people. But I think that what lockdown has created and what 2020 has created is sort of a new world of the antisocial, where you can go and buy great food and sit at home and watch YouTube videos and eat whilst watching food videos. So yeah. Next, target market, who and why. So this is something else that became very obvious to me over the last year trying to film. The people that watch my videos, why and who are they? Dieters. I have a lot of fitness people who watch my videos. Now, I'm massively into fitness. I go to the gym, and my community online, my friends, the people that I follow are all fitness focused people, and they eat vicariously through the channel. So if they are dieting, it helps them to watch food videos. Therapy seekers, so ASMR channels, and as mentioned before, provide a type of therapy. Intolerances, same as spicy food, anything allergy based, it scratches the itch to watch somebody else eat the food that you're not able to eat. Foodies, people like me, people love watching people eat. Why is it? I do not know, but I feel like it's a really intimate sort of experience, and it can just be, number one, absolutely fascinating to watch somebody that's very normal sized eat a huge amount of food, and two, it's just satisfying to see somebody enjoy something because you want to know what it's about, you want to know why. Culture seekers, learning about cuisines throughout food videos, seeing what people eat in different countries, seeing how the other half live. I feel like I love to watch cultural videos of people are traveling, going out, eating food from different countries and learning more about that. I feel like it's an interesting, it's valuable source of content. Lonely people. This is a bit sad, but it's the realities. So the realities are that so many people feel lonely, especially in a lockdown situation. And I feel like watching YouTube videos, you feel connected to the person creating the video. And when you see somebody eating and talking in quite an intimate sort of setup, it feels as if you're there with them. So I feel like for people that do feel lonely or are lonely in 2020, YouTube probably created a platform for them to kind of be in this bubble with this YouTube creator. So I feel like that was also a great find. Video trends. So which videos stand out? So the video trends that I have found have stood out on my personal channel is the this versus that. So myself versus Eddie Hall. The recipes. So from DIY culture, we can see that so many more people are baking at home. If I did a video where I bake a cake and I eat the cake, I've satisfied both the DIYers and the people that love the people watching other people eat food. And the challenges. So generally speaking, my videos are based on food challenges, and that's what I do. So people just love a challenge, and everybody thinks they can do it, but not everybody can do it. So it's the challenges are the bread and butter, for lack of a better phrase. There's this versus that is an opportunity for collaboration, and the recipes is a cause for diversification, I guess. The key element. So which key element to keep an audience engaged? Pain factor. Suffering is funny. So the pain factor is a huge factor. It means that people do like watching people suffer to a degree. And so I found that when I do spice challenges, people really love to see it. Now, I'm so stubborn and so in a zone that when I am doing a spice challenge, I can't give up. So I would rather suffer through it. And I think people like to see that kind of, that level of determination. Color. We really love seeing really great looking food, and that means so much color. I think it very much is across the scale, because you can have McDonald's in the bright red packaging and it would look super attractive, or you can have, like I've got here, a spread of sushi, and people would really appreciate that setup. And humor, outtakes and funny fails. I found that putting a reel of bloopers at the end of each video, because Lord knows I have a lot of outtakes, people like that. They like to see the human side of the people making the videos, and if I am anything, it is very human. Pop culture. Popular videos created across genres. What I mean by pop culture is popular culture across YouTube as a whole in general. So what is it that makes these videos popular, and how is it being spread across the different video genres? So trending food. People like, or it's popular to see trending food on a video, like recognizable fast food chains, the fan favorites, seasonal menus, new menu items. If McDonald's release a festive menu item and I do a challenge where I eat 10 of them, people want to click it. They want to see this new thing. So it becomes popular culture. Viral challenges. The Impossible McDonald's challenge, one of my most popular and probably the beginning of everything on my channel. Person in front of me picks my meal. So you get people across genres, from beauty to makeup, all the way to gamers, who are doing these trends to kind of put themselves in the line of relevance. 10,000 calorie challenges, very popular in the fitness community. People are doing this across genres on social media in order to, I guess it's a bit of clout. I guess at the end of the day, it's a bit of clout. And the biggest one is collaborations. Eddie Hall, Matt Does Fitness, Brandon Harding, 3 fitness guys in the sporting community who very much know that doing collaborations is going to get them further and further within their careers. And interlocking their discipline with another, it very much broadens their audiences, and it definitely creates popular videos across genres. YouTube in 2021, so it's never been a better time to create, and that is the truth. People are at home, it's Christmas time, and it's a super important time to start thinking about expanding, exploring, and just making great content. Culture trip. So these are the type of things that I'm going to start implementing into my own creative moving forward. So when lockdown is lifted, it is time to travel. People want to see world foods. They want the cheap versus expensive. They want to see what other cultures are eating and what's popular and what's not, etc. Delicacies, the best versus worst. These things are like the smelliest food you can buy versus the most delicious smell you can buy. People love the this versus that. Virtual TripAdvisor, where to go, what to order, what to eat. This is super uncharted ground. I feel like the virtual TripAdvisor is probably going to be the biggest thing in 2021. It's going to be, where do I need to travel to, which restaurants I need to go to, what do they look like, where do I sit, what do I order, which drinks, which food, which dessert. This is going to be a very, very huge thing for 2021, especially for myself. It's something I definitely want to explore. Clash collabs. This I touched on before, because in 2020 it was definitely massive. Collaborating with people outside of your own discipline. So merging worlds to diversify your own content. Food and sport, food and gaming, food and beauty. It is massive. Real people, another massive, massive thing, and something that I don't think has ever changed. Relatability is key to a dedicated fan base. Myself being in the fitness industry, but absolutely being a foodie, that is relatable to such a huge amount of people. And so I feel like making yourself as real as possible by showing your bloopers and uncut videos and real content and podcasts, and going live, like mentioned before, is going to be such a massive thing in 2021. So my 2021 content. What am I going to do different? Lockdown has created a huge demand for entertaining content, and in order to get my channel to flourish, I plan to create longer, more engaging videos with competitions and giveaways. Now, I feel to up the engagement, it is very important to create a platform where you can give things away and you can be sort of creative with competitions. And I feel like it was something that's definitely going to do well in the coming year. Include more real life and more fitness content. I have been very conscious to not kind of give too much of my real life away on social media, and that's just a self-preservation thing. But I think if I show people that yes, I go to the gym, yes, normally I do intermittent fasting and I eat really healthily and all of this stuff, but then once in a while I can sit down and smash a food challenge, people want to see that. So that is something that I am going to aim to show more of. Travel more, an awful lot more. We all need to get out there. We all need to travel. I'm definitely getting the itch. So time to book some flights. Invest in equipment to make higher quality content. This is always important for every creator. It's just about adapting, improving, moving forward, get better, do better, learn more, and give the people what they want. So essentially, listen to your audience, look at the comments, engage with them, ask them what they want, and try to deliver that as best you can. Thank you, everyone. If you do have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. And that is all that I have to add today.
Thank you, Leah. That was really good. So much appreciated. And if you want to follow Leah, just search Leah Shutkever, and probably on most socials. I follow you on YouTube and Instagram, so definitely add those ones up. I really appreciate that. I remember seeing, I think it was last year, where you attempted to eat, you ate 100 pigs in blankets, like in just a few minutes. And I thought, wow, I reckon I could do that. I managed about 12. It's just too salty. So yeah, it's unreal what you managed to do. So well done. Max, I don't think I need to intro you again, Max, after the two intros you had earlier on in the webinar. But what I will say is Max has managed to amass, I mean, I'm guessing here, there's around about 400,000 followers on TikTok this year through his through the Ministry of channels, which is Ministry of Science, Ministry of Trivia, Ministry of History. It'd be bad if I didn't get them right.
That's right, mate. Don't worry, that's correct.
There we go. So he knows what he's talking about. So listen to Max, and again, go and follow him. A lot of people call him the famous guy from TikTok. So over to you.
No one calls me that. No one calls me that, Adam. And I'd be disgusted if they did. Yeah, so hello, everyone. So as you can see, I have the false title of social media coordinator on that screen. But my job full-time is making TikToks for Electric House. As Adam pointed out, we have 3 educational channels with around 400,000 followers. And I'm going to be talking a bit about everything TikTok, because it is what we all want to hear about, whether we're 14 or 23 or 90. You know, you really don't know how old people are these days on social media. So I'll be going through just a few of my predictions for how I think the next couple of years will play out, focusing on TikTok. So let me see if this works. There we go. The new frontier is not quite as exciting as the Wild West or space, but TikTok is obviously an extraordinarily exciting platform at the moment, because it is exciting, on account of the pretty crazy growth it's experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially. So as you can see on the screen there, in 2019, 12% of Gen Zs, as we're called, had TikTok, and that number has risen to 40% in just a year, which is pretty staggering if you think about it. There's a lot of reasons, I think, for TikTok's rise during the pandemic. Obviously, it's a focus on extremely short-form content. It's extremely easy to watch because videos normally come in between 15 and 30 seconds in length. So it's really good if you're not good at paying attention. It's really good if you're putting off reading a book or doing something like that, because you can just dive in and just watch people dance in very, very brief videos. But obviously TikTok does have a lot of other really good, interesting stuff going on, like education, which I'm going to touch on, and also a lot of kind of brand involvement. We've also seen TikTok survive political criticism. So obviously there was the stuff in America where there were concerns about privacy, but I think it now does show the kind of power of social media companies, because TikTok was able to obviously change the way it operated in America to kind of placate anyone's fears about privacy and its relations to China. And it also was able to offer a plan of 25,000 new jobs in America. So obviously they know what they're doing, and they've been able to kind of very much plant their feet in the ground and solidify themselves as the kind of not the social media craze, but the social media with an extraordinary amount of reach, an extraordinary amount of people using it on a regular basis, and an extraordinary amount of people using it as their main form of social media. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean that there haven't been competitors worming their way in, slithering out the muck, trying to put up a little fight. Personally, this is just my opinion, I don't think TikTok's going to be kind of going anywhere anytime soon, nor do I think its competitors are going to be stepping on its toes. We've obviously got Facebook copying TikTok with Reels, which is their, again, kind of TikTok clone feature. And there's new companies like Triller in the United States with that obnoxious GIF you can see playing on screen. GIF, you can pick. Triller is an American company, again, that is very much based on the same kind of idea of a music-focused short-form video app. Again, stepping into the shoes of Vine as TikTok did, but again with more of a focus on audio and on music. But Triller hasn't been able to kind of build up a user base anywhere near as staggering as TikTok, despite a large amount of investment in the United States. And Reels, whilst obviously it's a company that is able to invest a hell of a lot, it is still mostly duplicate content from TikTok at its current stage. So these two social medias might grow, but at the moment it looks like TikTok is the king, and going into 2021 and further ahead, that seems extraordinarily unlikely to change. So especially for brands, it's a really good time to get on TikTok and start using it now, especially if you have any kind of product or service that is appealing to younger people. So educational content, learning. Let's talk about learning. TikTok have been pushing educational content very heavily. So they use the hashtag Learn on TikTok, and they've been pushing this massively. So this is where our company actually first had relations with TikTok. Well, that sounded a bit naughty, didn't it? Relations with TikTok, our flirtation, our affair. Effectively, TikTok came to Electric House with a contract because they wanted to start new educational channels. So we pitched them a variety, and we now run the Ministry of Science, the Ministry of Trivia, and the Ministry of History, as Adam pointed out. In terms of what we do, it's kind of me presenting videos around a variety of topics. Again, short form, concise and funny content, but all with a focus on learning. And TikTok really push educational content. Not only that, but they actually support it with their features. So for instance, our biggest channel, Ministry of Science, the content on that channel is effectively 100% curated by the audience because of the reply feature. The reply feature is basically just if someone comments on a video, you can make a TikTok that will directly reply to that comment, and then the comment will be displayed in text in the video, and you can choose how long you want it to stay up for and where you choose to position it on screen. The really ideal thing about this is that it basically helped our channel, grow massively, because it meant that people were really, really encouraged to comment, to engage, to interact, and to consistently ask questions that we could then answer in videos. There's almost a bit of a fight that goes on in the comments to try and get your question heard and answered. So it's really good, because it also means that in terms of a lot of the content we make, a lot of the time it is choosing a comment and thinking, this person's asked an interesting question, or this person's asked an incredibly stupid, funny question. So we're going to reply to that video directly and make our next TikTok in response to them. So the platform really works for learning. Obviously, videos currently are limited to a minute. And one of the things about that is it does obviously mean you have to be as concise as possible, but the reach and the capacity for growth on TikTok is extraordinary. So yes, you can make a 15-minute YouTube video explaining string theory and upload it, and 5 or 6 people might watch it. However, the amazing thing about TikTok, if you can be concise, and it does sometimes mean you've got to be a bit brief or split things up into series, you can have an extraordinary amount of people watching whatever content you produce, especially if it's educational. There's also a lot of educational brand opportunities. We've seen museums like the Black Country Living Museum, who are just outside Birmingham in the Black Country, surprisingly. We've seen brands like that really utilize TikTok in a really impressive way. For instance, the Black Country Living Museum have kind of actors and costumes in this big set. And what they've done is they just make fully formed TikToks in that setting. And this is actually one important point. Even though they are making educational content, they're still making TikToks. And it's the same with the content that we make that you'll see in a moment. It's really important for anyone thinking of getting into TikTok to not view it like any other social media. It's not a place for you to just advertise the rest of your content or just put the advert you've made on Facebook onto TikTok, or recrop something in portrait and get it on there. It's a very different style of content that's successful. So we see Black Country Living Museum choosing kind of trending songs and performing and dancing and acting directly to that music. And that's what has made a lot of brands really successful, still utilizing educational content. And we can also see there are channels of people, for instance, that are the experts on watches or the experts on accounting, right? And they'll basically go through and just give their expertise or review famous people's watches. And there's nothing stopping brands from kind of reinventing themselves on TikTok as an educational platform. So for instance, maybe not focusing on selling so much, but focusing on raising awareness of their brand through educational content. And TikTok have also been playing with a Learn tab. There are basically 3 tabs at the top of TikTok for you, following, and now Learn has been rolled out onto a few phones. They've been testing it. It's very likely, I think, in 2021, that's a feature we'll see across the board. Now, I've got a little example for you all of the type of TikToks we make. And this example is to show that this is the Ministry of Trivia page. We do a lot of stuff focusing on language, words you might not have heard of that are interesting or funny. And as you can see in this one, it's very important to make it TikTok-y and to make it a bit funny and a bit silly, so you can kind of judge the educational value of this video for yourself.
Do you know how if something's phallic, it looks like, how am I going to get this one through the algorithm? Male reproductive organs. Well, if something's yonic, it looks like girls' parts, foo-foos, front bottoms, or any other child-appropriate term you'd like to use. You're welcome.
So there you go. There's an example. I put that on mainly because Adam hasn't seen it yet, and I'm just impressed I managed to squeeze the word front bottom into this webinar. So moving on. Oh,
phallic, it looks like.
Hold on. There we go. And then Humanise brands. So this is the last thing I want to talk about today, and this is just an example of when using TikTok. It's a really kind of interesting place where brands in particular, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of this, can totally kind of change the way they market themselves. So this is something that's been going on for a while on other social medias. For instance, you might know that Wendy's, the fast food chain in America, on Twitter, very much changed the way they interact. They dropped the professionalism and the kind of the glossy idea of appearing, super professional. Instead, what they did was basically insulted other fast food chains, got into arguments with commenters. I say arguments in a very funny, witty, kind of aloof way. They typed in lower caps. They did all these kind of small things that suddenly made them look like a Twitter account rather than a brand using Twitter. And it was a really, really smart way of appealing to the youth and raising awareness of their brand, because professionalism isn't always the best method. When you're dealing with people at a young age, a lot of the time who are migrating away from platforms like Facebook, which are, seem to be a bit more corporate and older, onto social medias like TikTok, which to younger people, it seems like the new exciting little microcosm. When people arrive in these settings, they don't want to see brands shoving boring crap in their face all the time. They just don't. They want to watch TikTok. So if brands can figure out how to actually change the way they make content entirely and appeal to the youth and make funny TikToks, then they're going to obviously be really successful. So as an example, accounts like Chipotle, Leicester FC, these are followed by lots and lots and lots of people, not just Leicester supporters, not just, I don't know, Chipotle junkies or whatever you could call them. I suppose junkies probably wouldn't be the right word. But regardless, the people that follow these pages, they're following because of meme content, because of funny videos, and just because of generally good content that fits TikTok. And it's a really important differentiation. I think it's something that we're going to see a lot more of going forward, and I certainly hope we do, because it's just a smart way of brands engaging. You'll see these same brands commenting on other TikToks and on other brands' TikToks. It basically, as a brand, it seems now, if you want to be successful, just give your account to like a 17-year-old mildly funny boy or girl and just let them do it. They'll be better at it, you know? They know what they're doing. As an example, here is one of my favourite TikToks, to be fair. This is brilliant. So this is, again, an example of Leicester FC referencing another TikToker, Addison Rae. I don't know if you've heard of her. Congratulations. If you haven't, well done. You're a proper human being. But this is a little kind of meme bit of content that Leicester FC put out on TikTok.
Oh my God, I totally bought it.
So there's one. As you can see, the joke for anyone, you know, over the age of 70 is that that doesn't look anything like Addison Rae. That is Jamie Vardy with cornrows. Just if anyone needed that explaining to them. And here's Chipotle doing a little bit of funny fork humour. We always love a bit of forking. As you can see, it's a laughing fork. You know, and the point is, it's not that the laughing fork is, you know, an incredible level of marketing artistry. It's that a laughing fork is dumb and funny and people like it on TikTok. And that is the way forward. So Humanise brands, ditching professionalism and really utilising TikTok in a way that plays to its strengths as a platform. And that is, I think, all I have to say. So yeah, I hope you guys found that at least vaguely useful. If you have any questions about TikTok, then I will be around for the Q&A and I'll do my best to answer them.
Thanks, Max. Yeah, I mean, that first one, the first TikTok that you shown was very impressive. I was impressed that you managed to get all of those words in to the webinar, just pushing the boundaries constantly, and that's why I like you, Max.
Thank you, mate. Always trying to be transgressive in webinars.
Yeah. We have got a couple of questions. Not many people on today's webinar, nowhere near as many people as usual. I think everyone's give up for Christmas now. No one's working. They're all pretending to work from home, that classic on call. But we've got two questions. Fortunately, one about TikTok and one about YouTube. Let me just see where I've wrote that down. So I'll come to you first, Max, as you're on. But what guidance would you give to brands that wouldn't feel comfortable in doing the trending videos like challenges and dances?
Yeah, so I think that is one important thing. I know I was joking about kind of making this meme content. It doesn't mean that brands have to degrade themselves. I think that's really important. If you're a brand where, like, you know, you don't want to make silly videos, if you think that actually, you know, an important part of brand awareness for you is still sustaining a kind of, I don't know, a level of elegance or a level of kind of just, you know, appealing to adults, then that's absolutely fine. There are still many ways to make things fit TikTok without being overly silly and stupid. I mean, for instance, our channels have been very successful. I'm yet to dance or degrade myself or strip off into a bikini thus far. I don't know if Adam will make me at any point. We know what he's like. But I think that is one important thing for us. We do this educational content, but all the jokes are just me being a bit like cynical and miserable for the most part. So I haven't had to like change the way that I tell jokes to fit in with TikTok, but it's still TikTok content. So if you weren't into challenges or dances, you know, if that doesn't fit your brand, there's still a way of doing it. For instance, just as an example, there's fashion brands like Gucci, right, on TikTok. Gucci aren't going to make a terrible video of someone doing the whole, you know, like the really, really just low brow, like dancing that makes you want to throw yourself out a window. So instead, they make really cool artistic videos that will show off, obviously, their clothing, you know, the kind of fashion style adverts, but they're shot on a phone, right? So it's out in the street, it's shot on a phone, There's some music, there's no one dancing, and it's the camera kind of like some slick transitions, moving into different clothing and people kind of walking around these urban landscapes. So there's an example of like, that's a fashion brand. They haven't had to degrade themselves. They haven't got anyone dancing or doing challenges. But importantly, they've shot something on a phone. They've shot it in a way that seems like it could be made by other users. You know, it's not shot on this glossy camera that people are just going to skip past because they think, oh, that's an ad. And instead, they're managing to kind of make TikTok content whilst also sustaining, you know, the elegance of their brand, and without having to kind of, you know, toe themselves down to a different level of content. So again, obviously, I don't know what the commenter actually does or what their brand is, but I think there's always ways of, again, the important things: shooting on a phone, shooting in a way that seems like it could have been user generated, but it doesn't mean you have to do silly stuff like dances or challenges or any stupid crap. You can still very much make the kind of content that you do elsewhere, but just kind of shift it in a slightly different way. And again, I know I said earlier about being memey. You don't have to be funny, but if you're going to make something slick, instead make it slick but shot on a phone. If you want to do something educational, keep it brief, keep it concise. It can still have just as much educational value. So that would be my advice.
Lovely. Cheers, Max. I think there's some decent ones for people to look out for there. You mentioned one earlier on in the presentation, which was the Black Country Museum. And again, like, they're not the kind of brand that's going to do anything too stupid. And I've seen some of their content, and actually, like, I'm pretty sure that if you looked at the stuff you've seen on Gucci, the stuff you've seen on Black Country Museum, and even our own channels, Ministry of, because it's all quite educational, you can make that fit your business. So there are a lot of channels on there where people can draw a lot of inspiration from and hopefully make it fit their brand. And then I've got one for Leah, if Leah's still with us, Leah.
I'm with you. My camera's off. I'm not able to put it on.
Don't worry about it. It says, what's the one thing that's give you the most growth on YouTube? So I think what they mean by that is, out of all the things you probably mentioned, so like there was collabs in there and stuff like that, like, where have you seen the most growth in subscribers off the back of your content?
That's a really good question. YouTube is a really tough platform to break into. And I find that the two biggest life changes for me with YouTube was it's so generic, but consistency, it's so key. You need to hook people. You need to have a story in every video, beginning, middle, end. And that needs to be on a consistent basis. If you think of YouTube, your YouTube channel is like a TV show, and you watch that TV show every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. If 1 week it's not there, you will derail your audience. So you need to be consistent with them, earn their trust, and they will stick with you. And they are then the most dedicated people. So it's definitely worth it. And the second thing is collaboration. It's about finding people that are working in line with what you're doing and kind of taking tips from what they're doing too, and maybe in a really nice way asking them if they'd be keen to do a collab. It's not often as easy as you'd think, but even if you get a mention on a big channel, that could be everything to you. I can attribute a lot of my early success to being mentioned on a really big channel. Everybody knows Matt Stoney, and Matt Stoney went after my record, and he mentioned me on his channel, and I went from having a few hundred subs to over 10k subs overnight. So it was my first 10k, and I was like, what, this is crazy. So definitely get yourself out there, collab with people, talk to people, find what you can do better, and just be consistent with your content.
Amazing. Thank you. I reckon you're going to have a few people asking for collabs now. From you.
I do get it. I get people asking me all the time, but they often lead with, I can eat more than you. And that to me is like, well, you can't though, can you?
Yeah, there's not many people can. It'd have to be, if I was going to do that, I'd have to make sure I had someone with me. So it'd be like 2 against 1.
Yeah, I'd still beat you both.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. So thanks again for everyone who's tuned in today, because I know it's nearly Christmas and nobody gives a shit, let's be honest. So I really appreciate it. Another thank you to Leah and Max for giving us their time. Some really good value there. If you found it interesting and useful, then that we've done our job. If you've got any more questions, then feel free to add us on LinkedIn or send us a message. You can find me on LinkedIn, Adam Barry. Additionally, if there's anything else you'd like to discuss or we can support you anyway, please do get in touch. And just like to say thank you to everyone. And if you want to watch this back, this will be uploaded to our website probably after Christmas now, because like I said, everyone's switching off and nobody cares. Thank you and goodbye.